let's go get lost. Just take my hand, ignore the cost, forget the plan. I feel the hours ticking down, wish I could turn it all around.
What is good, Nympha, and welcome back to the Team Health Ultimate Champion stream. And today is a deadline stream. I think it might be our first one. Very exciting. And I'm once again joined by SpeedyQ. How you doing, buddy?
Very well, and you, Nim? Yeah, Gameweek 130, 125 coming up shortly. Exciting times, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's another chance for us to win a silver pack. So would you like to tell the guys all about how to do that? Oh, are you still with us?
Oh, I lost you there a little bit. Sorry about that, Nim.
That's okay. No worries. Into the ethos. I was just saying, how are the guys going to win their silver packs this week?
I lost you once again. I seem to have a terrible connection. This is brilliant. How are the guys going to?
Silver pack. Hopefully you'll get the silver pack.
Oh yes, of course. I shouldn't have forgotten that. So this week, what we need our listeners to do is basically share their game week 125 potential top performer. So the athlete that they think is going to score the most points for this upcoming game week. You can basically load it into the chat, and what we will do is we will draw it before the end of the game or the end of the stream. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the goodies that you need to do, and we will get in contact with you to send you whoever that winner is.
Yeah, absolutely. So another chance to get your mitts on the old silver pack. So do make sure you get that done. And I think it's always a good time about this sort of time to do our recaps on how we did for our last stream. So we should recap on how the players we discussed for game week 1, 2, 3 did.
That's correct. We should do that. But before we jump into that, if you don't mind, Nim, or let's jump into this, and then I'm sure we'll go to something exciting that happened to you in Game Week 123.
Yep.
So for our 3 players that we selected, they basically did quite well in Game Week 123. We had Bukayo Saka from Arsenal. It was obviously the Eddie Nketiah show last game week with his hat trick that he scored with Arsenal, and obviously taking the match ball home. But Bukayo Saka still put in a decent performance. 73 minutes played, 127 base points for Ultimate Champions, and obviously they gave Sheffield United a bit of a 5-0 hiding. So even though there were no highlights for Bukayo, he still. Then on to our second one, which was the genius of Ultimate Champions, as we call him, Mr. Amal Pellegrini.
Yeah.
He played 89 minutes, scored 1 goal, 186 points in Ultimate Champions in a 3-1 victory against Lillestrøm. He didn't score as massively as he normally scores, but I think it's because Boda decided to share the workload for a change, and the goals and assists came from the other athletes within their team. And then last but not least, Alexander Kavric for Slovan. Slovan beat Zeppelin 5-1. Played 82 minutes, 2 goals, and he was our best performing athlete of our 3, 261 base points on Ultimate Champions. That performance has basically taken his record to played 8, scored 5, and 1 assist. So that's a fantastic game week.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely picked one out of the bag there, didn't we? Fair play to anyone who had him in their team. Yeah, so that is the players, but we both had a bit of luck in game week 1, 2, 3, didn't we, Speedy?
We
So
did, we did.
I got
I was
a
very impressed.
oh, go on.
Sorry, Nim. I was very impressed when you sent me that image over the weekend or near the end of the game week, which showed your great performance. So please continue.
Yeah, I know. I was chuffed. I got 12th place in both the All Star Pro and the UC International Tier 1. So my All Star Pro, I'll just pop that up on the screen for you guys. Was pretty much propped up by my tasty bench, as Speedy was saying there with Saka. Most of my Arsenal lads either didn't play or didn't exactly kind of like knock it out the park. But all in all, a bit of champ was won and a little over 300 champ, I think it was, over both competitions, which is really helpful as I'm saving up enough to invest in some more winter cards. But tell us how you got on, Speedy.
Before I do that Nim, just on your team,
Yeah.
and to the listeners as well, that's what's very important, and also the double-edged sword when using the sub trick that we've discussed in previous podcasts on Ultimate Champions, and actually putting a solid bench in place that covers most of your positions, because a lot of us were impacted in various tournaments. In the same tournament that I'm going to discuss now, where I did fairly decently, I used the sub trick, so I was fortunate to end second in the in the Ultimate Champions Star division, which I'm very very impressed about, because I've been ending in the lower 7th, 8th, 9th, etc. So got some nice champ, and I used a sub trick, so I came second, and technically I had Odegaard that did not play, and I had no one to come in for him. So always be careful when doing that. But yes, both of us had a decent game week 123, and hopefully it continues.
Yes, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed it continues. Because it's a nice feeling to do well after like feeling like a little bit kind of lost and not being really sure where to go. And that's why I'm hoping these streams will really help anyone who's fairly new to the game, you know, because it's been following my journey as well. So hopefully they can take some good tips and it will help. So with all of that, should we move on to looking ahead to game week 125 and the teams to target, these, Speedy?
That's it. So we've selected three for this with this game week, and just for the listeners, we're not always going to select the big guns each podcast. Obviously, we're going to share it around and speak about various clubs and teams and things like that. So our first one comes from Slovakia. Obviously, Slovakia newly introduced onto Ultimate Champions, I think for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So our team that we're looking at, they are at home. They're currently 5th in the Night Liga. However, there's a big logjam from 2nd to 7th, which is covered by about 6 points or so. They played 12, won 6, drawn 3, and lost 3. In their last 7 Night Liga matches, they have only lost 1, and that was to table toppers Slovan. They've collected 16 points with 5 wins and a draw. They're also fresh off a good victory against Trenchen. Now, Trenchen is a little bit higher than them in the log, but as I mentioned, they are the from 2nd to 7th, they're covered by about 6 points, so very very close. And they won that game 3-2 away from home, which was fantastic. They play on the weekend at home to bottom table side Zlate Morav. So I expect goals, and 3 must-have athletes for this weekend. Look at Michael Juris, Philip Azango, and Calvin Ofori. They all have scored many goals and assists throughout the season. And you could even potentially, because of the potential of a clean sheet, look at their keeper, Dominic Tucker, as well. It might also be a good option. Just a little hint, all of these athletes end because of them ending very, very soon. The team we are focusing on is Bran, currently third in the Elite Serin, and in that last UEFA Conference League qualifying spot. They've had a decent season with 26 played, 16 wins, 4 draws, and 6 losses. They also have one of the best defensive records in the league, so that's very, very important. They're holding on to that final qualification spot just by goal difference. Viking is currently fourth, same amount of points. So they should play their top lineups for the next 4 games, obviously, to try and secure that specific spot, barring any injuries. The tip for this one is look at players such as Bart Finn, Sylvert Nielsen, and Frederick Boston. They are a couple that you can potentially line up for game week 125, and they offer a lot of attacking threat. If you're looking on the defensive side, Jerry Seffen Larson, if I said that correctly, playing very, very well, scores very well as well. A little hint for the Elite Serin: only select defensive athletes if they usually score or assist, because what I've noticed with the Elite Serin is there are a lot of goals and very, very few clean sheets. So make sure your defender gets into that box, scores and assists, obviously, to have him in your specific team. And then last is Universitatea Cluj from Romania. They are playing at home. They're unbeaten in their last 6 Superliga matches, which includes matches against Varul and FCSB. They sit 8th on the log, which doesn't look brilliant, but as I mentioned, they've played 14, won 4, drawn 7, lost 3. The key is they've been on a run for the last 6 games, and they're unbeaten. So that's very, very key to think of. They have a home fixture against Voluntari in game week 125. I can see them winning and continuing their streak, and they climb up the table. Dan Nistor, and we will chat about him a little later, is the standout athlete to have.
Yeah, he's come up a few times in the chat.
Yes, he has. No, he's. We'll get to him, so I don't want to give too much away when we jump into him. But yeah, he's been magnificent. Other notable athletes, though, as well that our listeners can potentially look at is Bogdan Mitria, always scores very, very well, and Andre Miron, the heart of the defense. And other notable athletes as well are George Kimpano and Ianis Stoica. The former, which is George, has a great recent run of form, and he scored some great juicy points in the last 2 games. So good potential for a clean sheet in this match as well.
Yeah, brilliant. We lost you sound a little bit on Bran, so we missed a bit of section of your sound for some reason on Bran, but you're back now, so that's all that matters. Not really sure what happened there. I know Speedy's having a bit of trouble with his internet this time around, but bear with us. At least you know we're live. In other words, if you have Bran players, think about playing them this week.
That's correct. They've got a good. If you lost me there, they've got a great matchup this game week coming up, and players such as Bart Finn, Sylvert Nielsen, Frederick Boston, etc. are players that you could potentially put in your lineup and should score well.
Brilliant, cool. Well, with that, should we have a look at some of the players to get in or potentially start if you have them for game week 125?
That's 100% correct. We'll start off with as the listeners have been adding, Dan Nistor, played 13, 8 goals, 5 assists, last 5 of 189 points. He's 35 years old, and he seems to be aging like a fine wine. In February this year, he transferred from Universitatea Craiova to Universitatea Cluj. This season, being employed by his new club in a more advanced attacking role, he has literally been on fire. Goals and assists have become second nature, and he's also on penalty duties for his club. I went back and had a look at his previous history. Obviously, being 35 years old is quite a bit of content. This is basically one of his best seasons, scoring and assist-wise, that I've seen going back to 2009, 2010. He had a massive score last game week of 361 points, which included a goal and 2 assists. He was the differential that helped me gain that second place in the Ultimate Champion Star Division. Him and obviously I threw Eddie and Ketia in there as well, who scored a hat-trick, which was fantastic. So if you have him, put him in. If you don't have him, try and get him for this fixture against Voluntari.
Yeah, I've been looking, I've been searching, see if I can figure it out. Definitely.
Yeah, he would be good. I'm fortunate enough to have a mythic and an epic,
Ooh.
which are split between various various tournaments and
How
divisions.
much can
So
I
that's what I say.
persuade you to sell one of those?
we'll speak after the game week, Nim. But what I wanted to say is having duplicates sometimes of certain athletes in Ultimate Champions is not always a downside, because if it's a decent player, you can obviously move them around in various tournaments as well. So that's a great option.
Yeah.
Then our next athlete, we're going back to Between the Poles. We'll speak about Arthur Desma. Played 10, 42 saves, clean sheets for the season, last 5 of 135 points. As you can see, he's averaging 4 saves per game, four clean sheets in his team's 10 matches thus far. The live shotstopper has kept 2 clean sheets in his last 2 outings. They had 2 0-0 draws. They play away to Toulouse in Gameweek 35, who have only scored 11 goals this season. So big clean sheet potential again, because they're playing away. I'm sure Toulouse will have a couple of shots and you'll get a couple of saves as well. In the last 2 games that they drew 0-0, he had 10 saves with those clean sheets. So he's got great potential to get the clean sheet and to get some saves this weekend as well.
Yes, and I recognize that player because I do actually own him.
He was in your team as well
He was.
last week in the
Yeah,
winning team, was he not?
he was. So yes, very excited to be having him playing again this week.
That's fantastic. And then lastly, from Wolfsburg, we haven't chatted about them this season. They haven't had the best of starts, I would say, to the Bundesliga. They're in mid-table, but there is one player, Jonas Vind, played 9, 8 goals, 1 assist, last 5 of 123. He has been the standout athlete for Wolfsburg this season. His team sits, as I mentioned, mid-table. However, he's very consistent with his goals and has been very integral to his team. He's actually tied 4th currently in the Bundesliga for goal scorers. Obviously, we know Mr. Harry Kane. He's not first; he's second actually, but just below Harry. And they play Bremen in Game Week 135. Bremen is sitting a little lower behind them. They are so potential for him to score well. Very important, his last 5 average, it's only 135. So if you want to fit him in somewhere in one of those capped tournaments within Ultimate Champions, not too difficult to do that.
Yeah, I remember I actually spoke to Johnny about purchasing one Jonas Vind a little while ago, and actually had to kind of pull back because I wanted to get I think it was Palacious.
Delicious.
So it was kind of a kind of either or situation. So yeah, interesting to see him definitely making it onto the player picks this week for sure. Okay, cool. Right. So that is all of our lineups and look at our teams and our players for the week. So we can now take a look at my team. Now I might just have to do a bit of jiggery pokery here so you guys can see what's going on screen. Let me just quickly kind of switch everything around for you. But basically, I have focused on entering the 2 seconds, the All Stars again, and the UC International Tier 1, because they're basically the ones that I'm kind of focused on at the moment. pretty happy with my lineup. I'm fairly strong again, Speedy, haven't I, with this one, just to kind of, I guess, see if we can get anywhere. I mean, Leno, since I bought him, feels like he's fallen off of fallen off of a cliff a little bit. But otherwise, we've kind of gone. I've gone all in. I'm taking a bit of a punt on Odegaard and Nelly against Newcastle, but it's the sort of game where I could see the potential to maybe potentially be goals either side on that one. I think Newcastle's going to be tough for Arsenal, but I think it could be a case where we might get a couple of goals apiece. Just looking at Newcastle last game week, so yeah, I think it could go either way. That one, I've captained Pellegrino, even though he's not he's not an epic, but I'm pretty happy with going with that. It's between him or Palacios, really.
No, I think them, and just to let the viewers and all the listeners know that you selected this team entirely by yourself. There was no information that I shared. I basically saw this team this morning for the first time. Fantastic selection. I wouldn't worry about Leno. He will come good. He was a very, very good scorer in Ultimate Champions. Obviously, Fulham has not had the best start to the season. However, they are playing Man United. Sorry, Man United supporters, but they are not playing great football at the moment. They are creating a lot of chances, but not taking them. So potentially some saves for Mr. Leno. I love your defensive back four. You've got Michael Hillick, who is consistent with Huddersfield, whether they concede or not. They're playing at home to Watford. You've got Bart Myers. They are, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're playing, I don't want to lie to you, I think they are playing Sepsi. I'm speaking under correction, but always scores decently. Bjortov lately, I mean, you can see by that last 5 average is scoring massively. Lorez, fresh off his clean sheet against in the previous game, and a potential one against Toulouse for this game. Palacios and Emerson coming back recently. Odegaard's been rested, so going to the Arsenal-Newcastle game, I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup. If you have attacking options, I think it's good to do that, because I think it'll be a high-scoring game the way both teams play football. So having Odegaard there, having Gabby Martinelli, I think they could score quite well. And then obviously Aurelio got a decent score last week, so he could probably return. And I think you're very, very safe captaining Pellegrino, even though he is a common.
Yeah.
Another 4 assist incoming.
Thank you. I'm hoping so. But the reason I've gone with 2 of my Arsenal lads here is that I wanted to try and keep a couple of my UC Tier 1 international players back for that tournament. So obviously, ideally, I'd probably have a Jack Clark in here, maybe over an Odegaard this week, given that they've got Newcastle. And it's not Newcastle at home either, it's Newcastle away, so it's definitely going to be slightly tougher. But yeah, that's kind of my thinking, if anyone's wondering, oh, she's going a bit strong on Arsenal here. I obviously have to have my set amount of epics to commons, so that's the other reason. I know a couple of people have put Saka over Odegaard and him. My Saka card is a common card, so yeah, it's I think I may have played. Have I put Saka in the? I'm not sure. I might have just gone with Jack Clark in the middle, to be honest. Oh no, I've put Saka in the UC Tier 1, so I am playing him. Just playing him in a different tournament for those that are kind of saying make sure you play Saka over Odegaard. So, we did have a question. It's from Nazarat. I hope I've got that right. What's your guys' opinion on using is that common? Is that a common card? Or is it Coleman? Sorry, it's actually a player. Coman. Any thoughts, Speedy?
Oh, Florinal Coman.
Yeah.
I think what you should do is in the was it in the Play Sharper chat? I saw a chat actually yesterday regarding what the coach said they're going to do with the front three for the FCSB, and I think Coman was in that chat. He's a fantastic striker. He obviously missed, I think, the last week's game because of a slight injury, but I think there is potential for him to be playing. So go check out that chat. I'm sure it's under the Play Sharper chat in our Discord. Guys, if you're not sure of, remember you can also go to Play Sharper's site and go and check the predicted lineups that their team basically presents for all the leagues, for all the UC teams. You can even link your collection to Play Sharper to make it easier to have a look at that and other information. So yeah, that's very, very important. And then also have a look at Civilized Footy Tips in the Discord channel. Civilized has released his clean sheet, win percentages, premium buys, and things like that. But I'm very sure Florinal is fit, but don't take me to the bank. Go and look for that chat or reach out to me and I'll point you out to where that chat was about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay, so Kai, I think it's Kai who has the responsibility this week of choosing our silver pack winner. Would you like to do that, buddy? And
Perfect.
whilst he's just doing that, we do have a question. I'm not sure whether it's aimed at us or at Kai or anybody for that matter. But what is your choice? Number one, an epic Pelly, or number two, a bottle of wine? I think personally an epic Pelly.
Especially on Ultimate Champions and
Yeah.
Epic Pelly, we can always buy the wine after the game week if he does not perform and drown our sorrows.
Yes, that's the one. And one thing I've noticed as
So
well.
we do have our
Oh,
winner.
you've got the winner, have you? Okay, I was just going to say before you say that,
No worries.
that I've noticed that where I've been a bit nervous to invest in older cards or players, that actually it's proven today, just based on some of the other picks we've had, that actually, with Ultimate Champions, don't worry about how old they are necessarily, unless you're wanting to focus on obviously your under 23s or whatever it is. Just focus on form.
Yeah, I think you must remember we all are managers.
Yeah.
Yes, we manage our collection. Unfortunately, we don't have that, well, all of that inside information from the real managers. So we can only go on, as you know, our tests on form, on previous performance, etc. And it's not always going to work out. There's many game weeks that I've had, and I'm sure everyone has had, where after your first day's game week, you've had 3 or 4 do not plays, or you've had injuries, or you've had poor scorers. The important part is don't give up. Think of the next game week, and that thrill when you do come first, second, or third, or podium in certain divisions. I think that's the thrill and the excitement that everyone is looking forward to at the end of the day. It's a fantasy football game. We enjoy it because we enjoy the sport and we enjoy the camaraderie between the community and what we do.
Brilliant. And with that, and enjoyment and fantasy football game, who is the winner of our silver pack this week?
Our winner this week, which has been selected, is FBL Thinker.
Oh,
Congratulations,
well
the
done.
winner of the silver pack.
Well done,
What FBL can do is, if you can reach out to me in Discord, obviously send me your UC manager name and then your UC email address, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Congratulations.
Congratulations, buddy. Well done indeed. Okay, and with that, we are wrapping it up. Thank you all so much for joining us. Do make sure you check out Playing Ultimate Champions. The link will be in the description below. And remember to only invest what you can actually afford. And do go check out the Discord channel, because you'll get a lot of help and tips there too. So until next time, thank you all so much for joining us. We may be back to it. We'll probably be back to a Thursday next week. So make sure you hit that notification bell and you know exactly when we're going live. Until next time, Nympria and Speedy out. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.
Feels like I'm caught up in a trance. Can't come down all night. The city never stood a chance. With you by my side, it's all ours. So don't second guess. Let down your guard. Just take a chance. I feel